Hey, I'm Ty. Welcome to another episode of Chart New Territories. And we're going to be learning from franchise expert Greg, who's going to be opening up in Richmond, Virginia. All right, Greg, I am super excited to be here with you today and learn about you, learn about your journey here. You're going to have a really interesting story that I think that's a little bit different than most people that I sat across from. So let's just circle back, not circle back, we haven't circled anywhere yet. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Tell me about what you've been doing before you joined us up here at Preservan. Give us a little of your background.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me here today. My background, I think, is a little bit different than most people's. I've been in the franchise industry for many, many, many years. I've owned several different franchise concepts. And most recently, I moved back from living in Mexico. And while I was in Mexico, I was a franchise broker, or often known as a franchise consultant. And when I knew I was moving back to the United States, one of the first things I was determined to do was invest in another franchise. Being a franchise consultant gives me the opportunity to evaluate and be familiar with many franchises. And so when I got back to the United States and start looking at franchises, I became familiar with Preservan, and it checked off a lot of the boxes. And I'm so happy that I found it and so happy that I'm here today.
Man, thank you so much. And we're happy to have you. But I'm interested, before we talk about Preservan, which is of course what I want to talk about, but before we talk about that, you said you owned a lot of franchise brands, you lived in Mexico, really intriguing. So tell us a little about your experience, because I think, a lot of people out there listening don't really have a concept of franchising, don't really understand, and you know a lot about it. So share with us a little bit about the franchise brands that you feel comfortable with, that you were involved in, and kind of what your overall experience of being a franchise owner has been.
Franchising was something that wasn't on my radar until it was on my radar.
Yeah.
I worked as a business broker for a while, and there was an opportunity with a franchise resale. And I thought about it, not knowing a lot about franchises. I was a bit hesitant, but I took the leap. I became a franchise owner with a franchise resale.
Yeah.
And after that, I was hooked. I'm all about franchises. I think they're great. With me, one of the advantages, or one of the things that came out of owning franchises, is that I was able to own businesses in different industries.
Yeah.
And that's been very exciting for me.
Yeah.
And you don't really get that if you do startup businesses. Most people, it takes them so long to start up a business that by the time they start it up, they get it running and successful. It's been 10 years or 15 years. With a franchise, you can get up and running very quickly. Franchising's been very good to me.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in franchises. I've been an owner, of course, but in being a broker and helping people become franchise owners, I can speak to them in a way other people can't because of my experience with franchises. So when I talk to people about franchises, I am super passionate. I love franchising as a concept. I think it gives people a lot of options in terms of industries that they can explore.
So I'm guessing that a lot of people that you talk to are usually like, maybe what they know about franchising is food. But, like a restaurant or like McDonald's or something, that's what, it's franchising. And of course, we're not a food business. We're home service. We're home renovation business, home improvement business. What other industries does franchising cover?
It covers almost every industry.
Really?
And I think a lot of people's association with franchises, like you just said, is with restaurants. And in fact, I started out my first franchise with restaurants. And it took me a number of years owning restaurants before I really became aware of other opportunities and other industries. But I think another great thing about franchises for people is that, they can do whatever they want to do in whatever industry they're interested in.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people maybe don't know what industry they want to be in, but once they start doing research on franchises, or they use a consultant or broker like myself, they become aware of all the different industries. The industries I've been in are food. I've been in the sign industry, sign franchises, home healthcare franchises, This is my first one in home services.
Okay.
And I'm very excited.
Yeah.
This is something I've not done before. And I think it's something that I'm not only going to do well in, but
Right.
also enjoy very much.
I have to agree. I think you're going to do very well in it, and definitely your experience bring a lot to the table. That's one of the things I really enjoyed as we started our conversations. I felt like I was learning from you as I was educating you about our business and about Preservan. Last thing I want to ask you just about your background. Really intrigued by it, and I think people listening maybe as well. Talked about you lived in Mexico for several years. What were you doing there, and then what brought you back to the United States?
Well, the reason I went to Mexico is because I bought a hotel there.
Okay.
I had owned a home healthcare franchise. I had a partner. She decided that she didn't want to do it anymore, and we decided that we wanted to do something different. So
Okay.
we thought, let's go and do something where we can semi-retire,
Uh-huh.
and we decided to go to Mexico.
Uh-huh.
And it was a great experience, but I have family in the United States. I also have a son who was born in Mexico,
Okay.
who's super eager to come to the United States and
Yeah.
live. And, it was a great experience. I'm happy to be back
Uh-huh.
home,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to have the opportunity to own another franchise.
Yeah. Man, that's good. So you've in our conversations, you've lived all different types of places. What about as you kind of decided to move back to the United States from Mexico? You picked Richmond, Virginia, or the Richmond area of Virginia. Why Virginia? What made you choose that to come back home to?
Well, first of all, both my parents were born in Virginia,
Okay.
and I grew up in Maryland.
Okay.
My parents retired in Virginia,
Okay.
and I love Virginia. Virginia
Yeah.
is a very peaceful place, very nice place, and it just so happens that there is a lot of moisture. There's a lot of wood rot,
Yeah.
and a great need for Preservan service.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Preservan then. In your own words, and I think you've already kind of shared it, but what is Preservan? What does it do?
Preservan helps people maintain their homes. A lot of homes, whether it's in Virginia or other parts of the country, have problems with wood.
Yeah.
Whether it's termites, whether it's wood rot, more so it's wood rot in the area of the country where I live. And one of the things that drew me to Preservan is the fact that a lot of people, instead of repairing a window or repairing a door because of wood rot, they're going to replace it. And I
Mhm.
find that extremely wasteful.
Yeah.
And also, people who do that, it's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, Preservan saves people a lot of money. It provides a much needed service. And to me, it's exciting. Maybe some people don't find that very exciting, but I find it very exciting. I find that it's something that I can really get behind.
Yeah.
And knowing that I'm saving people money, that really makes a big difference.
Yeah. High value, high impact, simple businesses are really exciting. Like anytime I see something out there, whether it's a restaurant or it's a service, when it's really nice and clean and simple, I can get behind that. It makes sense to me, and I think it makes sense to the consumers out there. And I think that kind of leads me to my next question is, you've already kind of you've been here, you've been training with us, you've already kind of started to adopt the language that we don't have customers, we don't have clients, we have neighbors. When you think about that, in your own words, what does that mean to have a neighbor and not a customer?
I think distinguishing clients from neighbors is really important.
Yeah.
We of course we are providing a service, but we're not. I don't feel like we're selling something to people.
Absolutely.
I feel like we are providing something that is very helpful to them. It's very responsible. It's more renewable
Mhm.
than replacing a door or a window, and I think it goes a long way to use the term neighbor
Yeah.
because it makes me feel good. I think you as a franchisor, it makes you feel good, and I think people can really identify with that. And I think it gets you closer to the people that you're providing the service for, to be referring to them as neighbors instead of clients or customers.
Yeah, man, I really like that, and I think that definitely in our conversations, I can really start to see that you're embodying that. That's part of your value system already, and I'm so excited to have you bring that to your area there in Richmond. So when you think about Richmond, I mean, you've got your area, but it's more than just Richmond. can you share with me a couple of areas of your territory that you're really excited to serve?
Well, I'm based actually in Charlottesville, Virginia,
Okay.
which is about an hour away from Richmond.
Uh-huh.
And I think most people are familiar with Charlottesville, Virginia because of Thomas Jefferson.
Right.
He founded the area, he founded the University of Virginia, which is there, and of course his home Monticello is there.
Yeah.
So I'm excited because there are lots of historic properties in and around Charlottesville as well as Richmond,
Yeah.
which obviously translates into lots of opportunity for services that Preservan offers.
Man, yeah, that's one of, I mean, in the little bit of time I've spent in Richmond, I made sure, or in Richmond, in Charlottesville, I made sure to go to Monticello. And what rich American history is there. Definitely when I got an opportunity to meet you and learn about where you lived, I was really excited just because I love the area. It's so beautiful. And there is so much opportunity, whether it's in old houses or newer houses, there's just so much there and so much value you're going to be able to bring to the community. Greg, you've looked at, I'm guessing, hundreds, if not thousands, of businesses, both as a potential franchisee as you're evaluating opportunities for yourself, but as a business broker and franchise broker, we'll just look at, like I said, like thousands. What about the Preservan franchise opportunity really stood out to you?
A lot of things. And again, as a franchise consultant, I work with upwards of 500 brands. So I have exposure to all these different types of businesses and all these different industries. And Preservan checked off a lot of the boxes for me. It is a simple, straightforward process. It's a much needed service. It is something where you're, I think, providing something that's very important to people. I also like the fact that most people's perception when they have a wood rot problem is they have to replace.
Yeah.
I mean, most people, that's the way that they go. And Preservan is offering something that is not only less expensive, but something that is easier to have done. I also like Preservan because it doesn't require a lot of employees.
Right.
And I own businesses where I've had hundreds of employees, and I'm getting to the age where I just can't deal with that anymore. So, I want to feel close to the people that are working with me. And this concept really is going to give me that opportunity.
Man, that's good. That's good, and definitely my experience as well has been. I like it when I can stay close to the business. I can stay really connected with our teams, rather than be kind of that man in the high castle. It is nice to stay kind of really connected to both your team and your community that you're serving. Greg, as you think about, you look out there in the future, 5-10 years from now. What type of impact do you hope that you have made through Preservan there in your community?
Well, I think awareness is really important. And again, going back to people who have issues with wood in their homes or their buildings, a lot of people, it's not on their radar, the types of services that Preservan offers. So I think building awareness is important. And I think once that awareness is built, I mean, we're going to be saving people a lot of money, our neighbors a lot of money, and providing a service that, prior to Preservan being in the Richmond market, nobody was aware of.
Right. Greg, man, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for trusting a portion of your future with us. It means so much. We are excited for you to open up in Richmond, to serve your area, to save your neighbors, as you said, save them money, save them time, create a convenient and sustainable way to repair their houses. We're so excited. And here's the thing, what I want to encourage anybody out there is if you live in the Richmond area, Charlottesville area, I want you to get connected with Greg and let him help you save your house, repair your wood, and stop that rot that you have. And so there is a link in the description, and just get connected with Greg and he'll get you a quote, same day quote, and help you save money. And if you live outside of Richmond, you live somewhere else in the country, and you're like, I've listened to Greg and this is the type of business that my area needs. I would love to serve my neighbors. I want you to also look for the description of the link and consider maybe becoming one of our franchise partners and open up in your area and serve your neighbors. Thank you so much for joining us.